The title of this video was actually just a poor joke. Different galaxies, like the Samsung Galaxies. But as I used the OnePlus 9 and the iPhone 11 more and more and compared them, I realized that the title actually couldn't be more appropriate. I'm Rohan from TechieTechTech and join me as we compare the OnePlus 9 to the iPhone 11. Here we go. For two phones that are supposed to be very different, the OnePlus 9 and the iPhone 11 are actually quite similar build-wise. Both phones have a sheet of glass on the front and the back. Both phones have flat displays, clicky buttons and a mute slider. However, there are a few key differences. For one, the frame of the OnePlus 9 is glossy plastic in comparison to the matte aluminium on the iPhone 11. No points for guessing which one feels more premium. No points for hate commenting that you won't feel the difference with the case on. Number 2. The iPhone 11 is the chunkier phone out of the two. It's wider, it's shorter, it's thicker and it's heavier. But regardless of all that, both these phones are very well sized. They are not large enough to be painful to handle and yet they are not small enough to pack tiny unusable displays. Design-wise, both these phones are again quite similar. You get pretty much the same design language with the camera island on the top left of the back glass. Both phones have the manufacturer's logo bang in the middle. However, one of these logos commands far more attention than the other. Simply put, if you want your phone to be a style statement or to seek more attention or to be more recognizable, the iPhone 11 is the phone for you. The OnePlus 9 on the other hand is a bit more discreet and maybe even generic for the average person. Moving on, let's talk displays. OnePlus absolutely hammers the iPhone 11 here. The iPhone 11 packs a 6.1-inch IPS LCD panel with an HD Plus resolution, a standard 60Hz refresh rate and a cool 326 pixels per inch. It is a decent display in a vacuum but does not really compare with competing smartphones in the same price segment. The OnePlus 9 on the other hand has a beautiful AMOLED panel with a Full HD Plus resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. This display is excellent and beats the iPhone's display by any metric. Frankly, the OnePlus 9's display is in the league of the iPhone 12's display and not the iPhone 11. Another major factor in favor of the OnePlus 9 apart from the quality is that it has a far less obtrusive punch hole as compared to the large notch on the iPhone 11. I'm sorry, there's just no point even comparing these displays. The OnePlus 9 is simply miles and miles ahead of the iPhone. Where the OnePlus 9 is not miles and miles ahead is performance. Both these phones pack top tier components, so of course they are stupid fast for your day-to-day social media, video watching and even intense stuff like gaming and video editing. However, I did notice two monumental things. Firstly, most of the games seem to be better optimized for the iPhone, and secondly, the OnePlus 9 with its Snapdragon 888 CPU heated up a lot faster than the iPhone 11 when you really push it. Now, these are differences that are mostly noticeable because the phones are kept side by side, so do keep in mind that both of these phones offer very similar flagship level performance. Time to discuss the software experience now. See, Android versus iOS is a deep topic of its own, so we won't dive into it, but what I can tell you right now is that both the iPhone 11 and the OnePlus 9 showcase the best of their software ecosystems. OxygenOS on the OnePlus 9 is probably my favorite Android skin of all the available options. It is fast, it's fluid, it's free of bloatware, and it's just an overall pleasure to use. It's also really stable and works very well with practically zero hiccups and crashes. iOS is actually quite similar in this regard. It has negligible app crashes and glitches and everything just works really well. You also get some customizability options with iOS 14, even though Android is still the vastly better choice if you're interested in some in-depth customization. When we talk about the ecosystems, I think Apple is the clear winner here. With well-established exclusive services like iMessage and FaceTime, the iPhone 11 will provide you with a far more complete and a far more popular ecosystem. It makes a lot of sense to go for the iPhone if you're already a part of Apple's walled garden with a Mac or an Apple Watch or even AirPods. However, do note that the cost of entry into this ecosystem is quite high and sometimes unreasonable. Moving on, let's talk about software updates. Like the display department was totally in OnePlus's favor, the software department is totally in Apple's favor. Simply put, no one, I repeat, no one does software updates as good as Apple. Every iPhone gets 5 years of software updates and security support, with the best thing being that they all receive it on the same day. So unlike Android, where the most premium smartphones get the updates first, every iPhone, regardless of the model and regardless of how old it is, gets the latest update at the same time on the same day. OnePlus and their software updates is a more complicated story. OnePlus actually used to be pretty decent, but they've recently started messing up, especially with the whole OnePlus 7 series fiasco. The update for those phones was actually many months late, and when it finally landed, it was full of bugs and made the phones unusable. That certainly does not bode well for the longevity of OnePlus smartphones, especially when you compare it to Apple. We can only hope that OnePlus will clean up their game soon. Let's talk about the cameras now. When it comes to optics, the OnePlus 9 sports a triple camera setup with a 48MP f1.8 primary camera with no optical image stabilization, a 50MP f2.2 ultra-wide camera and a 2MP f2.4 monochrome camera. On the other hand, the iPhone 11 sports a 12MP f1.8 primary camera with optical image stabilization and another 12MP f2.4 ultra-wide camera on the rear. This year, OnePlus has partnered with Hasselblad, which has contributed to the color calibration aspect of the OnePlus 9 series cameras. Let's find out how they perform in real life. As always, we'll talk about the photos first and then move on to the videos. Apart from the tonal differences, both devices capture pictures very differently. The OnePlus 9 tends to expose for the highlights and captures more accurate colors and delivers slightly contrasty pictures with better noise processing. On the other hand, the iPhone 11 tends to expose for the shadows and delivers pictures with good colors and high dynamic range. The OnePlus 9 can shoot macro pictures using the primary camera. They look decent when shot in good lighting. The lack of OIS on the OnePlus 9 gives an absolute edge to the iPhone 11 in the sharpness department. It captures sharper pictures with more details. We see similar colors and tonal differences in the ultra-wide cameras on both the devices. But apart from that, the OnePlus 9's 50MP ultra-wide is the better camera in every other aspect. Be it noise processing, sharpness, distortion, the OnePlus 9 is the clear winner when we talk about the ultra-wide camera. Shooting portraits is when the comparison gets interesting. The iPhone 11 tends to deliver good-looking pictures with more accurate depth perception. On the other hand, the OnePlus 9 delivers portraits with more accurate skin tones, high dynamic range, and good exposure. The 16MP front camera on the OnePlus 9 is able to capture selfies with more details than the 12MP front camera on the iPhone 11. Low light performance is respectable on both the smartphones. The iPhone 11 shoots sharper pictures but only with the primary camera. On the other hand, the OnePlus 9 shoots brighter low light pictures with both the primary and the ultra-wide cameras. The OnePlus 9 has an additional monochrome camera which does a decent job, but the same effect can be basically replicated on any smartphone with some basic photo editing applications. Moving on to the videos, the OnePlus 9 does have the upper hand when it comes to shooting videos from the rear cameras. It can shoot videos in 8K at up to 30fps from both the primary and ultra-wide cameras, while the iPhone 11 tops at 4K at 60fps. On the flip side, the iPhone 11's front camera can shoot videos in 4K at up to 60fps, while the OnePlus 9 tops at Full HD at 60 frames per second. When it comes to video quality, iPhones have usually been at the top of the smartphone table, and the iPhone 11 is basically no different. It shoots videos with high dynamic range and amazing stabilization in both the primary and the ultra-wide lenses. On the other hand, the OnePlus 9 shoots sharper videos with more accurate colors. Do note that the lack of optical image stabilization can be seen as we notice some jitters while shooting videos in the handheld mode. To conclude, both devices offer a flagship level camera experience. It all depends on the kind of user that you particularly are. If you're a snap and share kind of user who just wants a phone to take pictures for personal use or social media use, then both smartphones will suffice for your needs. However, if you are a pro user and want to shoot and edit pictures with some more control, the OnePlus 9 is a better choice. However, do remember to factor in the lack of optical image stabilization before you final in on the OnePlus 9. Conversely, if you're more of a video shooting person or more of a social media person, then the iPhone with all its iOS optimization benefits and unbeatable video performance might be the most suitable choice for you. When it comes to battery life, they're actually both pretty similar. Both phones will give you around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time with mid to heavy usage, which is very good but still no endurance champion. However, there are two fundamental differences. The iPhone 11 has far lesser standby battery drain compared to the OnePlus 9. As a result, if you don't use your phone continuously, the iPhone 11 will definitely last longer. On the flip side, the OnePlus 9 has a major advantage, and that is charging. The OnePlus 9 with its Warp Charge 65 technology charges faster than basically every phone on the planet, 0 to 100 in roughly 30 minutes. The iPhone simply cannot compete. Where the iPhone can punch back is that it packs wireless charging, something which the OnePlus 9 packs in some region and lacks in others. Now for a few random highlights before we conclude. The OnePlus 9 includes a case, a power brick and a USB cable in the box. The iPhone packs the cable only, so you'll have to buy the charger separately. Speakers and haptics are simply better on the iPhone. Not by a lot, but it is a noticeable difference. While call quality is great on both phones, the transition between VoLTE and voice over Wi-Fi is quicker and more seamless on the OnePlus 9. I also found that the OnePlus 9's antenna was more capable of holding on to Wi-Fi signals. And now for the conclusion. As I've said before, the choice between these two phones is now dependent on the bigger decision of choosing between two ecosystems. Apart from that, both these phones are solid smartphones at their price bracket. While the OnePlus 9 carries the latest cutting-edge hardware and smooth software, the iPhone 11 retaliates with better software support, better optimization, and just the overall richness of the Apple experience. It is a tough choice, my friends, a very tough choice. I hope this video helped you out, guys, and if it did, help us back by liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on this comparison in the comment section below. This has been Rohan from TechieTechTech, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.